everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are really excited today to be here to be talking about both previous and upcoming Hallmark movies. It's going to be fun. We're doing some reviews and previews, and I am film critic Rachel Wagner. Today, I have blogger Eric Rutin here with me, and thank you, Eric. First time coming on the podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Very, very excited. Been following you on Instagram, and it's great to be part of this.
Yes. So since this is your first time on the show, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
All right. I'm Eric Rutin. I do have this unhealthy addiction to Hallmark movies, of which my wife, she wants to watch her football on Sunday, and I'm sitting there turning on the old Hallmark channel.
Yeah.
So it is a passion that I've had. I've usually kept it kind of a little quiet, but I'm coming out into the wild open now on your podcast.
Yeah. So how did you get started watching Hallmark movies?
It actually was an accident. I was just as usual going through all the guide, and I came across Summer Villa, and which turns out to be, to this date, my favorite Hallmark movie.
Good one.
They were absolutely fantastic, and I just watched that, and I literally was hooked. And if you go to my guide now on my DVR, it's pretty much all Hallmark movies. And just like I say, it's a healthy addiction, I guess.
Have you always liked rom-coms and things like that?
I did. Yeah. Like my favorite movies are, Love Actually, Princess Bride, those kind of movies. So I've always been into the rom-com, and honestly, just never really thought about the Hallmark until I watched it. And then it's just a wonderful escape. People give me, always tease me about it, but it's like we have so much ugliness in the world and so much this, that, and the other. It's nice just to know you have a good place where things are going to turn out very nice.
That's what I always tell people when they ask me, what do you love about romantic comedies or Hallmark movies? And they said that the core, they're hopeful. They're hopeful that love's going to win and people are going to end up happy. And sometimes you just need that in your life. At least I do.
And people are like, oh, it's so predictable. You know what's going to happen. I'm like,
I need that predictability sometimes.
It's not a bad thing,
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to know what you're getting and just enjoy it. It's funny because this weekend I've been watching movies for South by Southwest Film Festival, and there's been some great films. But I tell you, it was really relaxing to take a break and watch a Hallmark movie this weekend. Yeah. 2 Hallmark movies this weekend.
Well, what's funny is my wife sits and watches all the true crime. So it's like my escape from, murder and mayhem. And then
there you go.
To the love and stuff like that.
Well, maybe you can convince her to watch some of the mysteries. So maybe that could be your bonding.
I've tried. And then we're getting ready. We're doing a big trip to Europe. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is a perfect thing to watch with me, which we're going to be talking about soon. And that's
great. No such luck yet. Well, maybe we'll win her over eventually. But what we're going to do is we have 3 different films to be talking about that we're going to give our crown rating, that we're going to talk about. And then we have a whole bunch of films for Spring into Love, which is the new theme that they've given it, the new title. They had Spring Fever and then Spring Fling, and now we're back to Spring into Love. And we're going to give our preview rating for those films. So this is going to be a little bit different of a podcast than we normally do. But we also, if you want to hear thoughts on the mysteries from January and February, you want to make sure to check out. I'm not going to talk about any of those, but we're going to talk about the films, the other films that aired in February and in March. Also, we're not covering the Wedding Veil movies because those were already covered on the podcast. We already covered those, and then we have these to cover. So all that said, let's dive in. Let's talk about it. Okay, on the 26th of February, we had Welcome to Mamas, starring Melanie Scrofano, Daniel Di Tommaso, Lorraine Bracco, director Alan Harmon. And it's after she inherits an Italian restaurant in Brooklyn, manager Amy teams up with the master chef to relaunch in the establishment and make her loved ones proud. Now, I have to say, when I talk about this movie, I did see it under kind of the best of circumstances. I was in California visiting my friend Colleen. She's a patron of the podcast. We recorded Frank cast together. And these movies are so much fun to share with friends and to watch together and just kind of enjoy together. And so I think that helped it for me. I seem to have enjoyed it more than a lot of other people, but I liked. I love Daniel DiTomaso. He was in Christmas Ever After on Lifetime in 2020, and that was one of my favorites of that year. I loved that movie with Ali Stroker. I think he's very dreamy. I think he has tons of potential in the Hallmark world. And I thought that they were a pretty good match. And I also liked the flashbacks. I thought were pretty good. What didn't work for me in this movie was pretty much anything with Lorraine Bracco. Didn't work. I thought that she was just felt like it from a different movie whenever she would be in there. And the whole idea that her setting up this rooftop kitchen would cause this unrepairable rift seemed hard for me to believe.
Yeah, sometimes they force the conflict.
Yeah. But what did you think of this movie? Your overall thoughts?
I was not with you in California, so therefore I saw it in very different circumstances. And then when you and I talked a little bit ahead and you said you liked it, I was like, ooh, maybe I'm crazy because I did not like it very much at all. I found Frank, while he may be dreamy to look at, I found him like the worst boyfriend on the planet. He'd be like, everyone on the planet tells him his fusion is terrible. And he's like, no, I'm going to keep going. So as far as a boyfriend, I'd be like, oh, that'd be terrible to have, because he'd always be right. But
because he's so stubborn.
Yeah. Whereas going to back to Legacy, a little veil, everyone told him that his fusion was fantastic, and it was very good. So you can do the Italian fusion. So I think Frank was just a bad cook, in my opinion, or chef, excuse me. Chef.
Yeah.
But and like some of the things in it, like for me, like I say, I'm a lover of romance and stuff. I just didn't see their relationship progressing. Like they seemed like to be progressing as good business partners. And it was sort of like, no, we're going to like each other. And I just couldn't find what was so attractive for her to him. What
did you think of the older couple, the flashback couple?
So I really liked when they did Mama and Papa, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they were both, I liked when they did the old time ones, but I agree with you. Like, I just didn't think like that whole current mama, or I guess she was dead, so it wasn't current, but Lorraine Bracco, I agree. Like, I didn't really like that portion of it. I actually kind of liked the flashback portion better than the actual movie. Like I was thinking that could be a fun, period piece or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was a great husband because he supported her 100% and was all in, like, whatever it takes, I'll go do whatever job you need so I can support you in your dream.
Well, I also think though that she was in the modern time, she was sort of sending, I think, mixed messages that she sometimes it seemed like she was giving him permission to cook, and then he'd show up and be like, well, where's my food? Oh, none of it's here. And so then he's making the old recipes. And when she says the secret is love, not seasonings, I'm like, what? Or something to that effect. I was just kind of like, no, you need to have your seasonings.
Yeah.
Love can only take you so far. I thought that was kind of funny. I mean, these recipes didn't sound that amazing. They really seem to establish this restaurant as this incredible restaurant, but it was like chicken parmesan and stuff like that.
Good chicken parm though can be.
I mean, I enjoy a good chicken parm, but like it's pretty basic, is all.
Yeah.
I would probably be more on the side of the fusion, but let's make it stand out a little bit instead of being like every Olive Garden.
Like the shiitake ravioli.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, even Olive Garden has a portobello ravioli, which are so good.
And endless breadsticks.
Oh yeah. And didn't you agree about the conflict with the roof? That seemed crazy to me. This is basically your daughter, and first of all, it would have taken a long time to get that all built up on the roof. So the fact that you wouldn't have known and it would be this like huge surprise seems hard to believe. And then secondly, just that you would not talk for years.
Yeah.
That just seems crazy to me.
On both sides.
Yeah. Like,
so
what? Like it's something that's easily removed if you don't want it. But she acted like it was her insulting her entire relationship, her entire life. It just seemed crazy to me.
Yeah, I agree, especially for like supposed to be her mother figure, even though like she got all the kids from the neighborhood in and this, that, and the other. It just seemed, yeah, a little overly dramatic. And I'll say, going to the whole Hallmark principle too, is sometimes you do have to suspend belief, right? You're like, okay, I know they're doing these things, and yes, they're doing it to help the plot along, but sometimes it's just no. And like I say, that I agree with you 100% there.
Yeah. I did enjoy Matty Finochio as sort of the BFF.
Yes.
He was good. He's always good. I always enjoy him. And then Adil
Zedi
was also in this in a small role. And I always, he won Interview of the Year for our podcast awards. He's great. And he deserved to win that award. He's so fun. And I hope that someday he'll get the lead because he deserves it. He's really good.
So question for you.
Yeah.
Did you like Matty better in this or in Legacy? Because he was fantastic in both of them.
Oh yeah.
He's like
I think I liked him better in this. He's
really?
A little more spunk.
He was saying too, because he told Frank his food was terrible. So I liked him. No, I thought he was really good in this. In fact, I thought he was probably one of the better characters.
I hope they keep using Daniel DiTomaso. I like I said, I think he has huge potential. I think he's really charismatic. The movie might not have been perfect, but I don't know. I think that he, like I said, he already did a great one with Christmas Ever After. I think he has big potential for this genre. I really do.
All right. So you're a professional reviewer, right?
I am. Yes.
So there are two things, like I said, I know you have to sometimes suspend whatever, common sense. But there are two things that just drove me crazy about this movie. One of them was that the reviewer came back and like, okay, you're great. But then she becomes part of their Sunday or Friday supper club. Like as a reviewer, you don't like really become the buddies with them, right?
Yeah, nah, I wouldn't recommend that. If I did do that, I certainly would never review them. Or if I did, I would state it first thing at the beginning of the review. I would say, these are my friends, and explicitly like own your bias in the review. That's the only way I'd do it, but I probably still wouldn't do it because most likely wherever she's writing for, there's multiple food critics. So somebody else could cover it, and that's probably what I would do. And
they're like, why aren't you my buddy? For other restaurants. And like I say, I don't know why that just annoyed me. And then the other thing was when the other restaurant where Frank interviewed at, the guy came and had the big confrontation right in front of Mama saying, are you coming to my restaurant or not? It's like, what like potential employer would ever go to your work, your place of work and be like, hey, so are you coming over to my place?
Well, especially because he'd only been there at Mama's, he hadn't been there that long, right?
So Frank? Or
no,
Frank was, I thought he
was it a while? I can't remember. Like I said, I watched it admittedly a little bit distracted because I was with my friend.
But it just for the guy to be like, I don't know. It was just.
I mean, it's not like it's somebody who's won a James Beard Award or is like a Michelin star chef or something like that,
Well, my thing was just
it's not Bobby Flay here. Like what?
Yeah, he's definitely not Bobby Flay, who does some fantastic fusion.
Yeah. But there was some nice kind of enemies to lovers, I thought, moments between the two of them, kind of banter back and forth. And it was in the preview, but the one moment that I thought was the best moment of the whole movie was when she was walking into her place and she's like, so were you going to ask me out? Because if you were, I would have said yes. And it was cute.
Then like, that's where Frank was like, his look and all that was just, that was priceless. I thought that was a great scene.
Yeah, that was fun. So I'd probably give this one like 3.25 out of 5 crowns. What would you give it?
I'm a solid 2.
Okay. Okay.
I'm like I say, it's one of those ones where like you kind of judge it on if it comes on, are you going to watch it
Uh-huh.
again? Even if I was like kind of bored, probably would still skip it and move on. It just, like I say,
Yeah.
it just wasn't my movie.
There you go.
There were moments, but overall, no.
Okay. Then we have Feeling Butterflies. This was on the 12th. It stars Kevin McGarry, Kayla Morris, and stars Kevin McGarry, Kayla Wallace, and Ish Morris. And I feel like this movie is just designed for Hallmarkies podcast because we've interviewed all 3 of those people. So that was very exciting. This is directed by Marita Grabiak and written by T. Booker James. And one of these days, I want to get Marita on the podcast. She's done a ton of these movies. And so I'd love to talk to her. If you're listening, please come on the podcast. Emily's booming butterfly business delivers monarchs to a birthday party where she meets single dad Garrett. With the help of Garrett and his daughter, Emily's business begins to take flight. So this actually stars a real life couple, Kevin McGarry and Kayla Wallace. So that's kind of fun. They are actually a couple in real life. And what did you overall think of this one?
It was one that started out slowly for me. I was like kind of, and I don't watch When Comes the Heart. So I was not really familiar with her. And I was at first not really liking it. And then as it went on and on, it grew on me and I ended up really liking it by the end. Mm-hmm. So, and once again, I think this is we differ on this one a little bit too. And
yeah, I like this movie. Okay. To me, this felt like a Hallmark movie from the past, like 2014-ish kind of, especially the catty competitor. You don't see sort of like they used to have sort of the other woman that's kind of catty and a jerk a lot more in Hallmark movies. You think even in the 9 Lives of Christmas, kind of the jerk girlfriend that he's dating for some reason, who knows why, but there was a lot of times that sort of character in these kinds of movies, and they've really moved away from that. So I actually found that kind of refreshing. I thought she was so over the top. She was funny, ridiculous, that I know I just haven't seen that for a while. And sometimes I like a little camp. I like a little over the top in the characters. Keeps it from being boring. So I actually enjoyed that about it. I didn't really get the whole butterfly thing. I guess I've never been to a wedding where they do this. Evidently this town, wherever they're living, is able to support multiple butterfly people. And I don't know, like at the end of the day, they're still kind of bugs. I wouldn't want like tons of bugs in my wedding. I think the whole idea is very weird to me.
I wouldn't be bagging on too bad, because clearly there's a lot of money to be made in it. Clearly. And the fact that there's 2 people who do the same thing, and she has a partner. She lives in a great house, drives a great car.
And it seemed like there were many people she was calling up, not even just the 2 of them. There seemed to be a lot of people that need these butterflies at weddings. I like I said, I've never heard of this. I've never been to a wedding where they did this. It just sounds kind of
I thought they were a little nicer than just bugs when they released them. It wasn't like a bunch of gnats or something. But I agree with you. I've never, like the doves, I've heard of the doves and stuff.
Yeah.
But butterflies, not so much.
They're a little bit prettier than like gnats, or like you're saying bugs. But at the end of the day, they're still kind of buggish to me. And I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't want it in my wedding. If you had them at your wedding and want to put in the comments, please do, because I want to learn more and hear about what a great experience it was, because it seemed to be a very magical experience for the characters in this film. And so, yeah, that was interesting. I mean, and it's also a lot of money for just a tiny little moment, it seems like to me.
Yeah. But they fly away in like a matter of moments.
To each their own, with how you spend your wedding budget. But anyway, I thought that also made it feel kind of old school to me. I feel like old school Hallmark, there was more the thing of like particularly in Christmas movies, you'd have the character with the weird job, the character that owns like a hat store or a, you know what I mean? Like a kind of eclectic
Right.
store slash job. And I feel like you don't see that as much anymore.
So the thing that was interesting is this is like two this year now, because they also had the butler. Like these things
Yeah,
where
that's
like
true.
the writers, where are the writers like, what job have we just like totally not, thought of that we have to go to because, oh, a butterfly
Yeah.
farmer, you know?
Yeah. Do you see what
Who
I'm
knew it
saying though about
existed?
how things in this movie felt kind of old school Hallmark?
So, like as well, you have to keep in mind, I started really watching only a few years back.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't have that 2014, experience. I've
Mm,
seen a couple of them just when, once again, like I say, I go DVR crazy. And
yeah,
there definitely is that different feel to
yeah.
them. And you can see, I don't want to say, and you have better knowledge of it, they maybe weren't quite as formulaic where at like this minute, like when I'm watching it, I know at what moment they're going to have their fight. I know what moment they're going to reconcile. It
Yeah.
doesn't bother me, but it seems, like it is sort of more a cut and paste kind of thing, maybe than some of the old ones.
Yeah. If you're listening, I'd be really curious if anybody listening kind of had that same feel with feeling butterflies that I had. So put in the comment section. Yeah, especially like I said, the catty competitor, the weird job. There was just some moments. Also, the really precocious music. That's something that they used to do, even in a good movie like The Nine Lives of Christmas. The music is loud and it's way too like bop, 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 bop. I know nitpick, total nitpick, but it can be kind of irritating after a little while. That's like, we get it. It's a cute movie. You don't need to tell us every 5 seconds that it's a cute movie with this music. But all
What do
that
you,
said, I still enjoyed the film. I
I
don't want to
liked
come
it.
off as too negative. I really
Okay,
don't.
I liked it a lot. What do you think of her dad though? I thought he was a horrible person.
Oh
He like
yeah.
basically flat out told her, you need a man to be complete.
Right. Yeah. That's true. That's true. I liked her relationship with Ish though, her BFF.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was a good relationship. They had a nice chemistry, and I think her and Kevin do have good chemistry together. It works. So sometimes real life couples don't actually translate that well. It can be like a little awkwardness between a real life couple for some reason when the camera turns on them. But I thought they had nice chemistry. Would you agree?
Yeah, I did. The thing I also really liked about it, which was, I know we have all talked about it for the wedding veil. Like when she, Jill calls and she's like, okay, what's going on? I don't know who this person is. And they're sitting out. She like actually flat out said, okay, what's up? Who's this Jill person? Tell me what your relationship status is. So she asked a question as opposed to just, perpetually wondering who this other person is. But I thought they did have some really good chemistry. I thought they kind of underutilized Kevin McGarry. Like he seems to be like, I think a little funnier. He's one of my more favorite Hallmark actors.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of had him hold back and showcased her a little more. I don't know if you got
I
that
can
feeling,
see
but
that. Yeah. The conflict felt a little weak to me of like, we're all of a sudden going to move to New York City out of nowhere. That was weird. And not that compelling. Like, I'm kind of tired of that whole conflict of like, we don't, it, like, if you really love somebody, just move. It's not that big a deal. I'm tired of that conflict. And it just felt kind of out of nowhere, and you knew it was immediately going to be resolved, and they weren't going to move. So, but I felt like that they had good chemistry, and it was relatively compelling, them trying to figure out how to get these butterflies, the 1,500 butterflies, and there were like cute moments. The little girl was
I
adorable.
agree. Little kids sometimes are really challenging in these movies
Hmm.
and kind of make them tough to watch. And the one we're
Yeah,
about to talk about in a second, I think did a great job as
yeah,
well. So, but
yeah,
both of the kids were, I thought really cute and stuff. So that
yeah.
was a nice thing
I
because
agree. Um, there were some wonky visual effects and with the butterflies that looked terrible, but yeah, I didn't really care that much about. I heard a lot of talk about that
Oh, really?
on Twitter. People were talking about, oh, it looks so terrible. I don't know. It was fine for me. Like I didn't.
It's
It did. It was just such a brief moment, and it did the job as far as I was concerned. As far as you know, it made it. It was close enough, I guess.
and it's also Hallmark. It's Hallmark budget, right?
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
like Avatar or something like that.
Right.
So it's yeah. Did to be honest, I didn't even. It's like the little thing that like, I guess I don't really pay attention to in a
Yeah.
Hallmark movie is, I'm looking for the romance, I'm looking for the chemistry, I'm looking for all that sort of stuff, that the butterflies were kind of there, but I wasn't
Yeah.
really following around the sky like, are you CGI or what are you?
Yeah.
Not my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I felt the same way. So yeah, I'd give this one. I think it's a little better than Mama's. So I give it a 3.5 crowns out of 5.
I, I'll go 3.75. Like I say, I to put it as a 4, I think it's
Mhm.
got to be a pretty solid, good movie. And it was just enough kept it, I think, from being that.
From USA Today's best-selling author Jenny Hale comes a story about second chances, family bonds, and finding out who we really are.
Butterfly Sisters is the perfect escape for fans of Susan Wiggs, Rand Thane, and Susan Mallory.
A heartwarming story that will have you laughing, crying, and rushing to those you hold dear.
If you loved the Christmas movies based on Jenny's books and are looking for more feel-good, small-town romance, look no further.
Available wherever you purchase books or download audiobooks. Find out more at itsjennyhale.com.
That's itsjennyhale.com.
The last one that we're reviewing is called The Presence of Love, and this was on the 13th on Movies and Mysteries. Julian Morris, Eloise Mumford, director McLean Nelson, and writer Nicole Baxter. And it's Professor Joss who travels to England to visit the farm where her late mother grew up and bonds with single father Daniel, whose family now runs it. So yeah, so this movie, I didn't even know that it was coming because I was so busy with my trip and with everything else going on that somehow I missed it. And then all of a sudden I saw an ad for it. I'm like, oh, I got to record that today. So it was kind of a pleasant surprise. And then I actually watched it because sometimes these travel movies can be sometimes these travel movies can lean too much on the travel and not have a good enough story for my liking, at least. So I was a little nervous going into this, but I ended up loving it. I thought it was great. I really liked all the scenery is really beautiful. It's a beautiful place, Cornwall. But I thought that the story was really good. I thought it packed a ton of story into a short movie. I thought that Eloise Mumford did a great job with panic attacks, and that's something I'm very sensitive to because I've had panic attacks in my life. So I know, what it's like, and I know what it feels like. And I thought she did a great job. And I also really appreciated, as somebody who had mild dyslexia growing up, I really appreciated the whole conversation about with the little girl and her dyslexia and how that was handled. I think Julian Morris is now 2 for 2. I really thought his Prince movie at Christmas was delightful. I enjoyed that more than most people. So I just really enjoy him. I think he's great. I thought they had really good chemistry. I just really enjoyed it. I really only have one kind of major flaw, I guess, with it, but it was by far my favorite of the year so far for me.
Of the
What
year?
about you?
It's not my favorite of the year.
Mhm.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. And I think
Yeah.
Eloise Mumford did a fantastic, I thought she
Yeah.
was like not Hallmark good. I thought she was good, like
Me
a
too.
really good performance in that movie. And like you said, they did tackle in this movie a couple like issues, right? The dyslexia, the panic attack. So it wasn't all neat, and I guess that's why it's over on Movies and Mystery versus regular Hallmark Channel 2, maybe.
Right.
But like I say, they really tackled some of those issues, which I thought was nice and refreshing. I thought he was really good. His character was good. As I said, I thought the daughter was a really good character.
So
The
good.
mom, I don't know if the parents were just terrible in this this
That
thing
was
like
going to be
mama,
that was,
mama, and whatever Emily's dad, and this one. I thought the parents were all bad.
that was going to be my one flaw. And it's not that I mind having characters that are flawed like her character. It's just that she was just too much. The mother, she was too mean to, she was so rude to her own son. I don't know. She was too much.
She
So
was
that
rude to
didn't work for
Josh when
me.
Josh shows up as a guest too in the
Yeah,
bed and breakfast.
really
Like, okay,
rude.
I get she wasn't like on board with it, but you're doing it, so
Yeah.
don't be mean to someone who's coming and the book the trip a year in advance. And I don't, like I say, that her character,
I do
I
agree
thought
there.
was a terrible person.
Yeah, that was my main flaw with the movie. The way that she treated her son was just mean. It was just flat out mean.
And I thought she even wasn't being very supportive of the daughter getting the attention that she needed for her dyslexia. It's kind of like, and maybe it's that British thing of, oh, you know, we don't have problems, we don't tell anybody. I don't know, but yeah, her character just, I don't know. I'm glad that wasn't my mom.
Great. Definitely. Yeah.
And by the way, you're
agree.
not kidding. The scenery of it, it was gorgeous there. Just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. And I even liked the ending when she's like, don't go, don't leave. And then he shows up at was it a train station, I think?
Right.
That was great.
Like train station, who runs to the train station in, you know, 2022?
It's different in Europe. They use the train more.
Right. But it's no, in all that aspect, I really liked it. Unlike you though, I found I thought it would have been a great movie that didn't need the relationship between the two of them. Like they could have just been supportive and it didn't have to get romantic. And, you know, maybe I'm a feminist or something like that, but it kind of bothered me how he's like, hey, you stay here, give up your life while I'm, you know, for me to be at my failing farm / bed and breakfast / turbine mill. Like she has a decent career. So, but he's like, stay here.
That's fair. But I do think because he has a daughter and because she can be a professor anywhere. So I do think that she can move more easily than he did. It's fair that they didn't really kind of discuss that and flesh it out. And that's probably a time thing. But I think that's what I just said in my head to make it okay for me, you know, to be like, oh, okay, that's why is that she's but I liked that they didn't sort of extend that conflict too long.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that can annoy me. It's just like, just move. I'm so tired of you talking about the fact you live different places. Like
you're totally right. It was like,
bored.
Hey, I've got to go, so I can't get involved with you, which is the real normal reaction.
Yeah.
I think people would have the way that she addressed it. And you're right. It wasn't like drawn out. It wasn't forced. Like sometimes they can be and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, my brother, he married a woman from Vancouver and he was I think we were in Maryland at the time. And they did that. He was miserable. They did the long distance. He was miserable, but you just do it. And they got married and they never had like, you never have this moment of like, well, should we break up or try to make it work? No, you make it work because that's the way you do it. Because love is rare and you don't just give it up for nothing.
I'll go back to Legacy when Tracy and her boyfriend are like, hey, your dream's there, my dream's here. Good luck.
I did like that about that movie. Yeah. But I just really thought that she did a great job with those panic attacks. That's not easy to do. And I bought it. It felt real to me. I related to it. And I don't know. I thought that was handled very well.
You know, it's interesting that the first one she had when she like reached for her pill, I was like, oh, great. They're like saying, oh, just pop your Valium kind of thing or your Xanax, whatever. But then and I guess this is the development of her character and why I thought she was so outstanding is then I really realized, you know, it wasn't just pop the pill and everything's okay. It really fit into what it was like to have a panic attack and in all of the things, like you need to sort of have that help and things like that to you know, come down from it. So I it's funny how it totally changed as the movie progressed of how I viewed that same exact incident.
Yeah.
And she had to do it later.
Yeah. And then like we said, the little girl and the dyslexia, that could have been really maudlin, but I thought it was handled very well. And the dad was sort of encouraged to, get things checked out, get things looked at. And that's when I'm glad that now I feel like as parent, I mean, I'm not a parent myself, but it seems like parents are being more cognizant of various mental health conditions and making sure they take care of it and don't just sort of brush it off like they used to, even when I was, in elementary school. People are just more informed, I feel like, now about stuff, which is great.
Yeah, like I say, it was a good movie, like I say, because it had a lot more depth to it than Hallmark movies typically do, and it was refreshing. Now, granted, I don't want to watch this and give up all my nice little like fluffy romance, all the time, but it was a really good way to spend a Sunday evening, I thought.
But it had like enough light moments of like going to the town festivals and cute romantic moments.
I don't want to say it was like a hardcore drama. No,
yeah. It's not one of those sort of Hallmark Hall of Fames, like manipulative kind of movies. This was just, I had enough combination, I think, of drama and comedy. Yeah. So I give this one a pretty high score. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5.
All right. I'm like I say, I'm at the 4, and that's mostly based on her. Like her performance was just, like, as I said before, fantastic. And I thought he was good. I just found like the romance.
Yeah,
I see the romance. It may have been that 4.5 for me as well.
4 is a good score. That's a really good score.
But actually, who we forgot to mention too was that dog was super cute.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That was a cute dog.
It was a really cute dog.
It was. That's true.
Like when she's going to get in the truck and he's like, "Here, go in the back," and the dog's looking at him going, "No, I'm not having any of that. She can go get in the back of the truck." And stuff.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that scene. It was super cute.
That was cute. Yeah, you're right. That's true. We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
So now we are going to move on to our preview section for the spring movies. And what we have is between 1 and 4 flowers is how you rate your excitement level for the movie. So super excited, 4 flowers. Not that excited, 1 flower.
Gotcha.
No. Okay. Here we go. First one is A Second Chance of Love. This is on the 26th. It stars Gloria Rubin, Alvina August, Jared Joseph, and Eric LaSalle. And it is Alicia and Arnold's marriage is a miss. Rather than face the problem, Alicia immerses herself in her divorced parents' affairs by setting them up on a dating app. So what is your kind of thoughts about this? Do you think that sounds good?
I am actually quite intrigued for a couple reasons. Mm-hmm. One, they're African American, and one of the things with Hallmark is we don't tend to get a lot of diversity. So I'm really liking that. And 2, that they're older. They tend to be always the younger couples and things like that. So I'm very intrigued by it. So the dating app thing, which I'm curious of how it works and how they don't know that they are, former spouses. Like, I guess you don't have pictures or something on it or something like that. But I am intrigued.
Yeah. I love Gloria Rubin so much. She was in she's been in a lot of amazing stuff, but She was in a Lifetime Christmas movie a couple of years ago with Toni Braxton. It was a take on Christmas Carol where instead of it having the I think it was like every moment is Christmas or something like that. But instead of having the ghosts, the traditional ghost, the character had lost her parents in a horrible accident. And that is what had made her shut off from the world. And so her ghosts were actually her parents. And every time she saw her mother, it was just devastating. And I really liked it. I feel like I'm the only one who kind of loved that movie. But anyway, I thought Gloria Reuben was absolutely wonderful in that. And I've seen her in other things. She's wonderful. Alvina August, she was in Delivered by Christmas, which was my favorite Christmas movie in 2020. So I love her. Eric LaSalle, he's great. So there's a lot of talented people in this cast, and obviously the diversity, I love that. I'm a little tired of the marriage and crisis movies, I have to say. Like when they first started them, and it seems like most of them have Nikki DeLoach in them. But when they first started them, I was like, oh, this is so novel. This is so interesting. It feels so fresh. And I'm kind of tired of them now. I don't love them. And I don't know. Some of them I've liked, but I wish there wasn't a marriage and crisis movie. What do you think about that?
I guess I don't have the past that you have to put it on that. And once again, we have a brief paragraph, and I've seen the 30-second commercial about 70 times during the last night's episode, right? So I don't know. I said it. I'm finding it intriguing, and that's not the marriage and crisis thing isn't bothering me quite yet. Now, when we actually watch it, maybe I'll have a very different opinion.
Like we had one last year, or it seems like even more than one with but we had one with Nikki and I can't think of his name all of a sudden, but we had one with Nikki taking the reins, I think it was called, where last year. And then we also had the one where she goes back into time, where the girl goes back into time and fixes her marriage, her relationship. But anyway, it can still be good. And I mean, all the tropes in these movies, they've used a ton of times. Right. So I don't know why I'm particularly tired of that one when they've used other ones many, many times, but that is how I feel. But I still am looking forward to the film. I would give it 3 out of 4 flowers.
Wait, what? How many is total?
4.
4?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the 4 right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like say there's a couple of different things in it that I'm curious about.
Yeah.
I have a quick question though. Were they a couple they were both on ER, right?
Yes, I think so.
By the way, it is a show I have never seen a single episode in my life.
Oh,
despite
really?
how popular it was. It got to the point where it became a badge of honor that I would refuse to watch any of it. I was curious if they were a couple on that show too.
I don't remember. I have to say I don't.
Like I
but I do think Gloria Reuben was on ER. I remember that.
So when I was reading a little bit the blurb, it said something about them both ER alum and stuff like that. So I don't even know if they're on at the same time. They could have been at different periods. That show was on forever. So
yeah, it was like 14 seasons or something, a long time. All right. Well, then we have Just One Kiss, and this is Krista Rodriguez, Santino Fontana, Arlena Douglas, and Aida Tortoro, directed by Jeff Beasley, writers David Reilly and Diane Robin. And it's through a series of chance encounters, sparks fly between college literature professor Mia and Tony, a headliner at a Manhattan supper club. Unbeknownst to them, Mia's mother, Marlene, and Tony's mother, Sophia, are working in some maternal matchmaking magic. So I think this sounds really fun. I love Santino Fontana. He's so charming and great. And there's a really cute little under the radar rom-com that he did a couple of years ago called Off the Menu that people should check out. He was so good in that, and I really enjoyed it, and hardly anyone watched it. But yeah, I don't know this Krista Rodriguez at all. And we haven't seen, I don't think they've done a trailer or anything for this one, but it sounds really cute. I'm all for busybody matchmaking mothers teaming together.
I'm a little bit, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but I'm trying to figure out how Ileana Douglas is like the mom in this movie. It seems like she's too young to be the mom, but it could just be I'm getting older and, you know, so are they and stuff. So that has me a little bit intrigued. And then another thing, is this like another Italian family movie?
I think it's Latino, Latin.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
All right. I was about to say, because Hallmark was going all Italian so far this year. That's Latino. Okay.
Yeah.
I was a little confused with some of it. So, okay.
And I think it might, I'm not sure about this, but I think I heard from somewhere that there might even be like a song or two, or that Santino Fontana sings a song. I don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but I feel like I heard that somewhere. And that would be amazing because he's a great singer. I mean, he's in Frozen, for goodness sakes. So
right.
And on
like
Broadway,
said,
Tony winner.
The busybody moms is a fun.
Yeah.
You're talking about the other theme isn't one of your favorite. Busybody moms are pretty fun.
Marriage in Crisis, not as big a fan. Busybody matchmaking and two mothers, for goodness sakes, that makes it even better. So I'm going to give this a 3.5, like half. I guess we can do half a flower. I'm giving it 3.5 out of 4.
I'm just so much more optimistic than you. I'm a 4.
All right, good. Good.
Like I'm thinking April, as we go through it, is just looking. I've been a little disappointed. I think Hallmark started out the year slowly.
Yeah.
And just reading these descriptions, I'm excited for April.
Yeah, I should ask, since you said Presence of Love wasn't your favorite, what is your favorite so far?
For
Hallmark.
For the year?
Yeah.
Oh, Legacy.
Oh, okay.
I thought
cool.
Legacy was just fantastic. Victor Webster was unbelievable in that movie. And I'll say I went into the trilogy thinking that was going to be my least favorite.
Yeah.
Because of the 3, Alison Sweeney is my least favorite. And it completely has changed. I absolutely love her. Like, I didn't dislike her, but I absolutely love her now. And I thought she killed it. And Victor Webster, who's once again in Somerville, he was just so great. So that has been my favorite.
That was a good match. I enjoyed that one a lot more than I expected. And I think it was hard because because they wanted to promote the other 2. So we didn't really get much. There wasn't much to be excited about. We didn't have a trailer till really late. We didn't even have a poster till fairly late. And so I think that's maybe why that happened with that movie, is that it really only had like a week of true press to kind of get pumped about it.
I did a little poll on Reddit, and it was the number one that I did, which was your favorite? And it was the favorite. I totally was expecting Unveiled to be my favorite because I love Autumn. Of the 3, she's my absolute favorite of those 3, but it was actually my least favorite of the 3.
I mean, my favorite so far of Hallmark 2022 is Presence of Love and then Butler's. That would be my top 2, but that's just me.
I'm going brain dead on the first one. The Jen Lilly first of the year. That
one was rough.
We'll just forget that happened, right?
Yeah, that was one of the worst Hallmark movies I've ever seen. It was.
And like, she really is adorable, and like could not have had a more unlikable.
Yeah, character. She was outright like mean. She was a bad friend. It was bad.
I agree. 100%.
Anyway, okay, so on the 9th we have Royal Runaway Romance, and this stars Philippa Northeast, Brant Daugherty, Sarah Jane Redmond, and Vincent Gale. And it's director David Weaver, who's done tons of these, and writer Jake Helgren, who we had him on the podcast in December. That was super fun. He's really nice. He's directed a lot, but then also written a lot. And so it's interesting that he didn't direct this one, that David Weaver ended up doing it. But it's Princess Amelia of Bunbury travels across America to explore a budding romance with an artist, only to fall in love with her bodyguard, Grady. So what do you think about this?
Who doesn't fall in love with their bodyguard?
That's right. I mean,
right?
Come on,
that's what bodyguards are for, right? I'm usually not a fan of the royal. Like you've got your ones you don't like. There's
Yeah.
very few of the royal movies that I like. So we'll see.
Uh-huh. Yeah, every once in a while there'll be one that works for me. Like I said about the Royal Queen's Christmas, I actually really enjoyed that. So yeah, I'm gonna give this one. It's the one I'm least looking forward to of this one. So I guess I'll give it like a 1.5.
I'm at a 1. As I
Yeah.
just got through telling you how I'm excited for April, and then I dropped my 1 after having the two fours.
But these ratings mean nothing because we don't know the movie, and so they could end up
Right.
being amazing.
It could be absolutely adorable, and the chemistry could be off the charts.
Yeah. All right. So then we have Love Classified, and this is Melora Hardin, Arian Mandy, Catherine McNamara, and Max Lloyd Jones. Director Stacy N. Harding, writer Lynn Sternberger, and this is a long summary. Its romance novelist Amelia is a whirlwind who blows back into the lives of her adult children, Taylor, and Zach, under the pretense of a book signing arranged by her hometown's local bookshop. As Amelia tries to reconnect, Taylor and Zach explore new and past relationships through an app that boasts old-fashioned human connection by way of the classified ad. Zach is given a chance to heal old wounds while Taylor matches with a woman that changes the way she always thought about love. So this sounds interesting to me. Because you've got like 3 different relationships going on. You have Taylor, and you have evidently a relationship with a woman. So that's kind of interesting for Hallmark. And then you have Zach with a new relationship, healing old wounds. And then you also have the mom in a relationship with this classified app thing. What do you think?
I think there's a whole lot going on.
Yeah, there really is.
And it could be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I loved her in The Office.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see how she comes on over to Hallmark and stuff. I think it all sounds pretty interesting to me, except for the app. Like the app that creates the old time classifieds. It's like, do you love pina coladas and getting caught in the rain or something? I don't like it. Just the app seems so kind of, we'll go back to the Jen Lilly, the hashtag love. Just it seems silly to me.
Yeah.
But like I say, I do think it sounds interesting with the different types of relationships. Like you say, the having the mother-child aspect to it, so it's not all just pure romance type things. I think that may be pretty interesting as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like Catherine McNamara is a pretty decent get for one of these movies, especially more of a supporting role. I feel like I hear her name quite a bit in a few projects. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be optimistic about this. I mean, I love the representation. I hope it'll be a fun movie. We haven't seen a trailer or anything. I'm gonna give this a 4. I really hope it'll be good.
I'm at a 3.5.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. All right, we have A Tale of Love, and this is on the 23rd. It's Brittany Bristow and Chris McNally, director Leif Bristow, writer Richard Beatty and Agnes Bristow. Leif and Agnes are Brittany's parents. And this Bella learns her dog rescue's future is in question when they lose funding from their main sponsor, a dog food company that's being sold. The late owner's son, JR, is a soldier who is home on leave to handle the sale. During a visit to the rescue, JR quickly bonds with Indy, a retired military dog they just took in, and begins spending more time there. When Bella learns the rescue's property is also being sold, she turns to JR for help with finding the missing document proving her grandparents purchased the land many years before. So yeah, so this one, I think it sounds very sweet. I mean, you gotta love a military man with his dog. That sounds really cute. I like Chris McNally a lot. I like Brittany Bristow a lot. They've both been good to the podcast in the past. They're really nice people. So I hope they'll have chemistry. It's kind of fun that it's written and directed by Brittany's parents. That's fun. I hope it'll be good. I'm optimistic. What do you think?
Is he going to get a haircut and shave?
I don't know. I haven't seen any of the clips.
I don't know, because that could be the military thing. But
oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Probably. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they'll just say, forget it and stuff. I just found it funny because, like, I remember you had the dog podcast on a couple of weeks. Comparing them. So we'll have to see how this fares with the with the whole dog rescue.
This is more walking the dog versus Love at First Bark, which I wasn't a big fan of.
But I agree. I think they're great actors. He really brings it, and he's got a lot of charm, and the ladies seem to like him a little bit. So I think this is going to be a pretty good one. And once again, when you have the dog there as a center, it's kind of hard to go too wrong. But
yeah, I was a big fan of Chris McNally way back. Actually, when he was in Rocky Mountain Christmas, he has a very small role. He plays her brother in that movie, and Lindy Booth's brother. And I was like, who is that guy? He is so handsome. Who is the brother? And then he proceeded to become a big thing with Hallmark, getting on When It Calls the Heart, getting on a bunch of other movies. So
so are you team Luke or team Nathan?
I'm definitely team Lucas. And we talked about it in detail on the podcast, but I think that Lucas is more of a challenge for Elizabeth, and that interests me more than I want to see her grow and develop as a character, be challenged. And I feel like she gets more of that from Lucas. So that's
I actually feel like I haven't watched any of those episodes of that show. And I'm thinking I kind of maybe have to, because I went and got to The Good Witch. I just downloaded because I was looking for something on Netflix to download on the plane. I just, searched Hallmark, and now I'm like totally hooked on. I think The Good Witch is so fantastic and so good. And everything like that. So I'm now thinking like maybe I need to give this, it's a commitment because I'm, so much. But and I have to say the Mountie thing, I think is what first turned me off, because I'm like, oh, how corny with the Mountie, but perhaps not.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like eventually you just have to give it a shot, at least as a Hallmark fan. It's such a part of the culture.
9 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, and it just goes, if you're gonna have a Hallmark podcast, you have to cover When It Calls the Heart. You'd be crazy not to. You get such good numbers. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna give this actually 4 flowers. I really hope it's gonna be good.
I'm with you on 4.
All right. Now we're moving over to movies and mysteries, and it's Always Amore on the 3rd, and it's Autumn Reeser, Tyler Hines, Patty McCormick, director Kevin Fair, and writer Julie Sherman-Wolfe. So as Elizabeth tries to keep her late husband's once acclaimed restaurant afloat, she's forced to work with a consultant to turn things around. He reignites her passion for baking and life itself. And Julie Sherman-Wolfe's a good friend of the podcast, and I asked her, I said, I was so surprised to hear this was on Movies and Mysteries. Is it just one of those random things, or is it got the drama? And she said, no, it absolutely has the drama. And she had to go back and put more drama, make it more drama focused. So that was very interesting to me. So I'm intrigued.
If you look at the promos, it doesn't portray it. It seems like a typical Hallmark movie. So they're not really, the drama of this consultant coming in who's, her late husband, who wants to change her late husband's thing, but it just seems kind of straight up Hallmarky. And that's interesting. Now I'm even more. Do we have? Can we go 5 flowers on this one?
You can.
I'm not.
I mean, that's when I was putting together the spreadsheet to prepare for this episode, I was like, that's on Movies and Mysteries. I didn't even know.
I didn't realize it either until just now.
So I thought, it's just one of those things they just ran out of time or whatever on Hallmark Channel. But I asked her, and she said, no, absolutely, it's got the drama. So I'm very, very intrigued. I mean, Kevin Fair, he's done tons of Signed, Sealed, Delivered, so he can definitely pull off that drama. He does a good job with it, the director, and of course Julie Sherman-Wolfe is one of the best writers that they have.
Yes, he is.
Writing for Hallmark. And so, yeah, this one's definitely a 4 flowers for me. Tyler Hynes, Autumn Reeser, should be great.
The only thing that may pull it back for me is what is up with his hair?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy had good hair and now he's got this, I don't know what he's got going on. I was hoping Caroline was going to be on because she's a very big fan of his. And I asked her, I'm like, what do you think of his hair? And she's like, I'm trying to make it grow on me. But
yeah, it's not my favorite haircut. I'll grant you.
It does not look good.
No.
So.
All right. We love Tyler. He's been so supportive of the podcast. He's great.
He is
Everybody has
good.
Different choices of haircuts, so that's fine.
He is always good, and he has such great hair. That's what gets me. I don't know. Maybe he had an accident and just had to like cover it up or something like that with a new do. I'm not sure.
Never know with people with their hair. All right, the last one is Curious Caterer Dying for Chocolate. This is on the 10th. So there's Nikki DeLoach and Andrew Walker and Aaron Boyce, who we've interviewed all of them for the podcast. You should check that out. And it's let's see, sorry. Okay, it's directed by Anthony Mecci and written by Irene Dobson and John Christian Plummer. And it's Colorado caterer Goldie Berry teams with Detective Tom Schultz to identify the ingredients that led to the mysterious death of her friend and ends up discovering a hidden recipe for murder. Sorry, I think that's a funny description. They identify the ingredients, a recipe for murder.
Yeah.
I think you said you didn't really watch the mysteries.
No, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, very much.
What do you think of this? The idea of the recipe for murder?
So I'll admit I have a little bias going against it.
Oh.
That why am I going brain dead on the gourmet? It's my favorite show.
Gourmet Detective.
The Gourmet Detective. I couldn't remember the last word on it. It is my favorite. I love both of them on it. I think it is such good writing, such good acting. I just loved that one. And now it's no more. So the whole like chef aspect of it, I'm like, just bring back Brooke, bring back Dylan. And but I will say having Nikki and Andrew in this, I don't see how it can go wrong.
Yeah.
Myself.
I kind of feel that way too. They're going to have really fun chemistry. It sounds like they're not taking it too seriously. There's going to be a little tongue in cheek, a little bit silly. And that's what I want to see in these mysteries. I want it to be like, there's some of them that I just think took themselves way too seriously. Like in my opinion, the Haley Dean, they had their fun moments, but
100% agree.
They took him very seriously and it's not as fun to me. So this to me looks more my speed. My favorite will always be Garage Sale Mysteries, RIP. We're never going to get them back, but I think this sounds fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I agree. I think it is going to definitely be a fun one. So I guess we'll see, because sometimes they can be a little too corny, because mystery is kind of a hard genre to pull off sometimes. Yeah. But like you said, it doesn't seem like they're taking it too serious, but you still want to have a little bit of suspense, like who did it or who done it, at the end. So we'll see. Yeah.
So I'm going to give this 3 flowers.
3 flowers. I'm going to one up you. I'm back to the 4.
All right.
I think, like I said, I think it's between the two of those guys. How is it not going to be good?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. So let us know what you would give these films. Let us know what you thought about the ones we reviewed. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And Eric, where can people find you? Eric, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And how can people find you and your writing?
So my blog is Hallmark Reviewer. Hallmark Movie Reviewer. Yikes, I forget my own name. HallmarkMovieReviewer.com. And that's where I post, my reviews of the movies. They're nowhere near as good as yours, because I just do it for fun. I had on Reddit, some guys like, oh, you're just doing clickbait. I'm like, I don't even get paid for this. How am I doing clickbait and stuff? So I just do it. They're all very, very, very biased. opinions. They're, like I said, I don't have the obligation that you have to really present the facts and help people make good decisions and stuff. And then on Instagram, obviously the same handle. And or you can just easily find me because I'm always commenting and liking your posts. So easy way to find me in that aspect.
Right. We'll have that all in the description. So y'all definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So please take a look at that. And also make sure you're following the Hallmarkies podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast all over social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave us your 5-star ratings and reviews. It really helps us a lot. A lot of people don't realize. I was just talking to a friend this week that didn't realize how much those iTunes reviews really do for a podcast and get people to see those, get people to find out about the podcast and come up in searches. So please, 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 please take a second and give us those 5-star reviews on iTunes. We'd appreciate it so much. Also, if you are watching on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group, which if you love what we're doing, that is the most helpful way that you can support us on a yearly. We have new annual rates. You get 10% discount if you give the annual rate. So you can be part of our watch alongs and our Q&As. We just had a Q&A with Will Kemp that was super fun. And that's for any level of support. You can be part of the watch alongs and Q&As. Please, please, please take a look at that. And then also we have the merch store, which has tons of fun Hallmark inspired designs, and that helps support the podcast as well. So thank you so much, Eric. It was great to meet you and great to do this, and we'll have to do it again.
And I'm going to give you a big plug. I will say that when I first, obviously I started following you on Instagram, and then I was like, oh, you've got your podcast. So I'll give it a go. And I'm like, how really good can a podcast be on Hallmark movies? Which is kind of silly considering I love them so much. But I will say it was so good that I begged you. I'm like, please, please let me be on it. You guys are so good. And it's when I walk the dogs every morning, that's what I listen to. So it is a fantastic podcast. I'm not just saying it because you invited me to be on. It is really good listening, and the different people with all their different opinions is very, very fun.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So again, let us know what you think of all the things we talked about, and we will talk to you all again soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.